Welcome to a new video. Today, finally, the day arrived, Season 15 complete warding guide. As you guys can see, because you can see the duration of the video, it's going to be a long one and it's going to be filled with everything you need to know about warding in Season 15 as a support. And you have the chapters right here. I try to make it as complete as possible so you guys can become the best supports in the world. When should you be warding at level 1 Botlane Bushes? And I see so many people, so many players. Their mistake is that they directly ward here, base, and go for a sweeper. This is a bit old school. You could do it, it could still work, but when is it good to do it? So I will only recommend to do this when you are in a elo below Diamond 2, because enemy supports rarely take sweeper level 1. When enemy supports are already taking sweeper level 1, dropping a ward here in this bush is going to be less impactful because they are going to sweep it away and you cannot do much about it, right? That's what the enemy support should be looking for. So a ward in the middle bush is when the matchup is pretty even and you want to have control over this bush. Once you have control over the mid bush, you are going to get prio and most likely going to win the matchup. So you can always punish if the enemy support wants to hide there, and you can get extra autos, extra damage, kick him out, so he has to play here, and you can play nicely in the middle bush. That's why you ward the middle bush. Now, when do you ward the first bush? The first bush is going to be warded when you cannot really play lane, because they have, like, for example, Caitlyn Lux, Varus with Nico. They, for example, have like a very oppressive poke lane, Brand with Ashe, and you cannot step up because you are a very weak lane. So you want to drop a ward in this bush, and once the wave is coming, you want to follow the wave as well and throw your spells or initiate the fight, because you have your wave advantage with you and you can attack them without them trying to zone you. Now, what about if you are in a very strong lane and you are winning? Normally, I would tell you take sweeper level 1 because you are going to be able to control better the lane. But with this new season and the incorporation of a new rune called Deep Ward, it's way better that at 130 you drop the ward in enemy tribush. From Blueside, it will be this spot. And from Redside, it will be this spot. Why? Because now with Lux, and let's say I'm playing with Caitlyn against a very weak lane, we are going to be able to punish the enemy tower, and this ward is going to stay for 2 minutes and 15 seconds. That means that if you guys pay attention, I will have my ward trinket, the second rotation, back up before this ward expired. We are going to fast forward the game till this ward expired, and you will see that I will have my second rotation trinket just way before the ward expires. Now my trinket is going to respawn in 10 seconds, and now this ward is still up. The buff that they did to this ward even allows you to walk up, drop a ward, and my initial ward is still here. So I'm going to be able to stay in lane for such a long time. Now the ward is going to stay around 2 minutes, a bit more, because I should be level 3 when I place my other ward and it scales with level. It will stay around 2 minutes 30 seconds, and now I will have 30 seconds without vision. And now I'm going to give you a very nice tip that you can abuse and have permanent vision in bot lane. Now we are going to do the same with Ashe right now, and because with Ashe support you want to also always play aggressive and be oppressive in lane, we are going to ward the tribush at 130 again. But now here is the tip that will change everything. You can have this warded for 10 minutes straight in bot lane if you take this rune together with Deep Ward, Cosmic Insight. Now my warding trinket is going to be up in 1 minute right now. Now the ward is going to expire, but you guys already see that my second charge of the other warding trinket is already going on. So now I will drop my other warding trinket. Now this ward is going to stay for 2 minutes 30 seconds, and I will have my following the third rotation of warding trinket in 2 minutes. Right now you guys see that my third rotation of warding trinket, because I have Cosmic Insight and I'm playing with Deep Ward, is going to be placed again. I have permanent vision on this tribush from minute 130, as I said, till when? So 2 minutes 46 seconds. more. So almost infinite. You have infinite vision with this strategy, because now once this ward expires, you are going to have again the 4th rotation of warding trinket, and this is a tip that almost I have not seen anyone talk about this, because no one is that interested in vision maybe. So yeah, this is a way for you guys to maintain tribush control for more than 10 minutes. It's super important to get information level 1 on enemy jungle. So when you have a jumping champion like here with me playing Sylas support, but you can do the same with Rakan and Rel. And what's important here with Sylas or Rakan is that you can go deep ward. So the ward that you are going to place deep in the jungle is going to stay for the entire first clear of the enemy jungler. Alright, so the common wards are ward here on enemy raptors, or ward the red buff, ward this spot, or ward this spot. Okay, so but I want to show you right now a spot that I love, that is very underrated and no one knows, is that here of course you jump and you will check out if someone is here, then you can even get some kills with your team. I have done that before. If someone is in this bush covering, then maybe there's going to be a fight, and if everyone is stacking there, it's going to be very difficult and maybe you die, but there's always some risk involved. So the ward that I love placing is exactly this one here. Why here is because now we will see the enemy jungler cross towards the red buff and do it, and from the red buff he can go towards the raptors, and then we will see him go cracks, or we see his entire pathing. We don't need exactly a ward on the red buff or here or in the bush or on the raptors, because this ward is going to give us the information anyways. And the thing that people are forgetting is that this ward is also very good against sweepers, right? Because now we are still seeing Amumu doing the red buff, so we already got the level 1 information, and if Amumu went and swept this to see if this is warded or this is warded, he will never find the ward. The same thing from Blueside this time around with Rakan. If you start W and you don't need to start with Q in lane and you want to get that information level 1, I recommend this in solo queue like 99% of the times, because you are jumping here, checking if enemy jungler is covering or enemy mid laner, and then you can always go around and look for a level 1 kill, or maybe you can get their flashes, right? You just have to wait for UW cooldown. Now it's still fine to ward here if you want, or ward here. This ward is a bit better because normally they are not going to sweep it, but if you think that maybe enemy like invaded your bot side and you think they are going to sweep, then again this placement is always going to be very nice, because now you will be able to see the red buff and you're going to be able to see when they pass towards the raptors, right? The same thing when they are trying to go for cracks, you will see, like for example, them doing the red buff, and then after that if he goes raptors, now after maybe he decides to go for cracks a third, now you know he's finishing on top, and now your top laner can get ganked, right? So it's super important that the ward stays alive and it still registers all the information that we need to play the game. Level 1 ward against invades. So you want to ward your tribush or this place here, the entrance of the raptors, and then you want to stack in the opposite side. So here what we are going to do is I ping to my teammates to stack here, and I'm going to ward the opposite side, and we will see the enemy team enter, and once they enter you can react to it, right? You normally want to drop vision like this when you are playing against champions that most likely are going to invade, or you think that enemy team has a strong level 1 to play and you want to deny that from them. So here we will end up getting 4 kills at the start of the game, which feels really good. So now the same but red side. So for red side, what you want to do is ward the banana bush and then stack on tribush, or ward the tribush and then stack here, right? But compared to, in my opinion, blue side, what you also can do is in this side of the map, ward this bush or ward the entrance and then stack here. Or the other way around as well, you can ward here and stack in this bush right here. At the end of the day, the same thing, they face check and we end up acing them all. So these are the wards to avoid some invades level 1. Let's say now you are playing with a very weak jungler or a full clear jungle, and enemy is playing a very aggressive jungler that is going to most likely invade, so you want to cover. So now we have a couple of options. Is if you are playing against a champion that does really fast the raptors, like for example it can be Maokai, right? Or can be like Poppy Jungle that normally before it would invade enemy raptors and you steal it. You want to make sure that if your jungler is starting on top side, that you drop a ward here for him to defend this entrance. Or you can also drop it right now here. Why is this important? Because you don't want your jungle to do blue, grump, and wolves, and then come here and nothing is up, and they cannot really invade enemy top side because maybe they don't have mid and top prior, right? So now, this is one ward. The other ward that you can place is if the enemy is playing Graves, Kindred, Kayn, Shaco, champions, jungle champions that after the red buff, they are going to invade enemy grump or enemy topside, right? So normally they do red and then they come here and invade, right? So what do you want to do is that at level 1, you want to drop a ward right here. And this, please guys, remember, this ward at minute 1-5, for example, it will be super good because it's defending the Shaco or Kindred jumping the wall, or maybe going this way to invade your, I don't know, Hecarim on the Grump. Now, this has saved me so many games because I'm laning bot lane, I'm here in bot lane laning, and now my jungler is aware that enemy jungler is coming. Let's say it's, as we said, a Kindred, and he's going to invade the Grump. Now I want to show you also from Redside what you should do is a bit the same, just mirror it. The same thing, you want to drop a ward here for your jungler if your jungler is starting bot side and you are scared that he's getting invaded because enemy team has a good level 1 to invade the raptors, or like a Darius and you are scared that they're going to get invaded. Normally your jungler should be able to drop the ward by his own, but sometimes you have to cover for your teammates if you want to win solo queue, and it's good knowledge to know, right? So you could drop the ward here. Now, the same concept is that it's very strange for a jungler to invade from blue buff to enemy raptors and red. So normally what they will do is or raptors into blue or and grump, or red buff jump the wall into invade. So we are going to do exactly the same thing that we did on blue side. Is the same thing here. So now we are going to see with our ward in trinket, let me refresh it, where is the vision enough, right? What's the biggest area we can cover? You don't need to know the exact spot to place it, but here looks good, right? Now I'm going to go bot lane. Let's say I'm laning bot. Let me TP there. Now if the enemy Shaco wants to invade my jungler, he's going to jump the wall. He's going to jump the wall and maybe try to go through here or through here to invade him, right? And the same thing if he tries to go this way, we will end up seeing him. It's just some small spot that it's not warded, but they would need to hug the entire wall, which can happen. But at the end of the day, we want to be as efficient as possible with the wards. There's always some counterplay, but normally they are not going to be thinking about this is warded, so they will just jump the wall and try to invade and cheese your jungler, right? But here you can react and be ready to kill the enemy jungler there. I've done this so many times and it works so good. Okay, this is the last level 1 ward that I can think of that supports usually drop, and this is more of a high level warding, and it's done more in professional play or in very high elo. Is that when you have a ranged top laner like Jace, Queen, for example in this situation, Vayne for example, or any top laner that wants to bully, you can do this with Kennen as well. What you can do for your top laner is drop a ward in the middle bush or in the last bush, so they will have vision during the laning phase and the first waves. So Darius or Renekton, depends on the matchup that is happening in top lane, cannot hide in the bush to dodge the auto attacks of your top laner. So you are giving an advantage to your ranged top laner. He already has an advantage as a ranged top laner, but his life is going to be so nice and he is going to be able to bully a lot. Also, your top laner can use his ward to cover himself instead of spending a ward in the bush to keep bullying the enemy, right? This is also done, for example, if the enemy top laner, let's say this has happened in one of my games, that my enemy top laner is a Fiora and you are playing with a very weak champion. So what you want to do is that you want to get a ward, for example, in the first bush. Let's say enemy team has Fiora and they are going to trap here, or Darius is going to trap here, and your top laner is very weak. So normally you can drop a ward here so they can play the lane better. But I would recommend to do this, as I said before. Like when you have a rage top laner that wants to keep bullying, just make sure that you ward one of these 2 bushes and they will be able to punish the enemy top laner, and also they will keep their ward so they are safe. How do you ward when you are in a winning situation in bowling? What are the best wards that you can drop? This question I got asked so many times, and today I'm going to show you, and we are going to go one by one and explaining why it's good and how should you place them. First of all, if you are blue side, we are going to talk about red side just after. You want to always pink ward this side of the bush. Why this side of the bush? Is because when enemies are going to try to take this ward, they have to commit more to take it, especially melee champions, and then you can always punish with the jungler coming from here or from here, and you can defend this ward. This tribush is super important to gain control. Now, once we have a pink ward here, we can advance into the next bushes. The second bush that I love warding is this one, because you are getting information on the enemy grump, and at the same time you get information on who is recovering bot side, and you can make so many traps and so many plays, because let's say the enemy AD carry is alone, you know when he's getting help. Right? So that's super important to know. This bush, I like to ward, but I like to pink ward again, right? If you want to transition this pink ward, or for example, your AD carry already pink this, which is a bit rare because it's solo queue, no one pink wards, you can transition this one here again on the edge. It's super good, especially because it gives you time to rotate. Normally no one checks this bush, and you should check the bush because like for this reason especially. And when you are doing dragon, it's a super good ward. We will talk about it as well, right? Shallow vision is always nice. Now, if you want to keep moving the vision up, this ward is great to see if the enemy is doing blue and on the grump as well. And this one right here. On the edge, you guys see when it turns green, now here it's perfect. Why? Because this vision is going to give information of if enemy is going mid lane, if they decide to go towards bot lane, what they are doing. And if you have this control, you are just moving up the vision. And this is super good, especially if you are still playing for this tower. Now, if you want to take it a step further and you want to say, coach, I need like deep vision. What is the best deep vision you can get in bot lane? I already got my ward item and I want to get deep vision. What are the best spots to get it? It's this one here in the corner and this one here right now in the crossroad. You get this one warded here as well. And now if you want, you can keep this one right here, or you can drop it in lane as well, right? But I really like this one. I do really like this one. Why this is the best is because right now you have the entire control and deep vision. You could go a step further and drop someone here, but then you are just losing the lane control. But you know if they are going to gank mid lane, if they are going to go for the river, if they are just going to cross. And this again, the same thing, right? You can see if where they are going all the time, right? You are seeing if they are going where they are going all the time, and it's super good vision. And also, like sometimes they will drop a pink ward here, and this pink ward maybe doesn't spot the ward, right? So actually we can do a bit better and move this ward like a bit up, and we drop it here. Why we drop it here is because now if you want a bit of knowledge about wards, is that the pink ward that enemy is going to drop here is never going to spot this ward due to the fact that the walls are stopping it, right? It's just that you are losing a bit of vision deeper here right now compared to this one. But it's a great ward to avoid it being taken away. And normally when enemy is losing, they are going to drop a pink ward here and a pink ward here. So this one usually will not survive it, and this one will survive. The same thing, but on red side. The same concept right here. You want a pink ward, again, in this spot. Why this spot? Because it's so complicated for the enemy team to get access to this pink ward. Even if they ward this spot right here, they still need to go all of this way. And now your jungler can come here, like let's say a Jarvan. They can get engaged on here. You can play with this corner and make their life miserable. Just drop them in spots where it's difficult to get. You'd never want to place your pink ward lazy just here in the middle. It doesn't do anything. Tribush, place it always away of your enemy team. So keep that in mind, please do that. Now, for this bush, it's a bit tricky compared to the grub one, because now you want to place it in this side, so it will spot the golems, and at the same time give you a bit of vision, right? So this shallow vision, it's insanely good. You see here as well, this vision. You want this vision to play this T1 tower. It's an excellent vision, because now you will see if the enemy mid laner, for example, is going to come to defend, if the enemy jungler wants to jump the wall and go from behind. So you don't need wards in the river at all if you have this ward right now. This ward is super good, and I would recommend to place it like every single game if you are in a really good position, because it gives you access to the dragon fights, and a lot of good stuff happens when you have this information, right? The enemy team normally doesn't sweep it. It's very difficult because they usually ping ward here and they never ping ward here to get rid of this, and if they don't see you place it, they forget that it's even a possibility to be there, and it's great. Now this ward for the golems, and if enemy team is like covering a dive, you will also see it, so it's great. And now let's talk about moving the vision up like we did before. If you are winning and you want to move it up, I already covered this in a short, but you can drop this ward here, which is excellent because it's going to give you the information of the lane, the golems, and also when they pass towards the red buff or what's happening, right? You have 3 passes. It's like a really good crossroad ward, and crossroad wards are excellent. Now I understand that a lot of people say move the ping ward and get the ping ward here for the vision. That's fine, that's good when you're playing engaged champions and you are able to rack and escape the wall and just get a ping ward here. That's a really good ward. But if you don't want to move your ping ward from this bush, that's fine, but then you need to cover this area somehow. Good wards in this area, like here, for example. This one is also fine. Why is this fine and not in the bush? You could also drop it in the bush, but this one is going to do the same thing. You are going to see the enemy do the red buff, or if they cross here, they cross there. So it's always nice. You could drop it in the bush, no problem, right? Let's say keep it standard, we drop it in the bush. And now from here, the other one standard will be drop it inside this bush. Now, there is a variation of this ward that I already showed as well, but I'm going to show it, of course, in this video because not everyone watches my shorts, is that you want to drop it here, right? I learned this ward watching a lot of Korean solo queue and Chinese LPL competitive game, is that this ward is not going to be taken because the enemy is not going to place the ping ward that they will place here normally will not spot this ward. So you will have permanent vision on enemy trying to move towards here, go out, enemies going to lane, because it also gives good vision around there. I will show you now. Like, let's get rid of the minions, and we will show you that if the enemy is walking towards lane, just hugging the wall, you will also see them going towards mid lane, right? So it's a great ward to, again, avoid them sweeping it. And that's the good thing about warding properly, is that you will avoid so many ping wards from the enemy team and you will still have vision, right? So this is good. And then if you want to move it a bit up, you can always use like this corner here. It's super good because, again, it's a good crossroad, like it's crossing in the 3 pathings, and here, right? You can drop this one and you are in a very good spot. If you have deep vision, like, it's insane deep vision. All right, let's go for losing matchup in Blueside. And this one I picked Alistar because it represents well when you don't have prio. So losing matchup is when you don't have prio and you feel like they are pushing you all the time. I normally recommend, and I already shared this with my when to pick sweeper or warding trinket, I would recommend going sweeper almost every game because you can relieve a lot of pressure. Because let's imagine enemy wards this tribush and you are able to sweep it away, then they don't have vision, so it's very difficult for them to pressure, but I cover that in another video. Now, let's say you have a ward. How should you place your ward to be the most efficient possible when you're on a losing matchup? So let's say they are pressuring you all the time. Let me get rid of the minions, but imagine enemies are in bot lane here, right? They are pressuring you all the time. Now, the best thing you can do is drop your ward here, in this corner. Why in this corner? Because you don't need vision on the tribush, and what you want to do is you want to see if the enemy support is rotating towards mid lane, right? It's very strange that if they don't see you place this ward, that they hug the wall and they don't play around the vision. this happens in higher levels. So for example, if you are playing Challenger, probably it will be able to dodge this ward, or in Grandmaster. But this ward looks very good. Why? Because sometimes you will have to match. And how do you match? Is knowing what's happening, right? So you are just going to see the enemy support going and moving to Voidgrubs or moving towards a mid play. Then you can always skip the wave in bot lane. You know that your AD carry is 1v1 and the enemy is going towards the mid lane. So you can always match and make sure that you are fighting a 3v3 or a 2v2, right? Works great against, for example, champions that roam a lot, like Pyke, Leona, Nautilus, right? You can match them while you are not losing much in bot lane. What is great about this ward is that if you drop it on Tribus, it doesn't give much vision of what's happening here, and the enemy support can always play in the corner, base, and you are doubting all the time, right? The same goes with this ward. If you are able to drop this ward right now here, that's excellent as well. This ward is going to give you so much information of the river and what the enemy support is doing. If enemy pings here or pings here, this ward can survive. You can also drop the ward a bit like in this area. Like in this area, you can drop the ward like in these spots, and it's going to do the same job that the ward that we just saw, and it works perfectly. So this ward is so recommended when you are in a losing position and you want to have a bit of access to the river, but you are not able to control like the other side, right? Now that we spoke about these ones, what do we do with our ping ward? When you are losing, your ping ward is going to serve two purposes, right? The first purpose is to cover you in bot lane. That means that you can drop it here. Again, very close to you. Like when we were looking at aggressive, it will be here. And now here is very close to you, because when they come and try to contest it, you can maybe look to combo them from the wall, and your jungle can also play around here, right? So this ping ward is fine. What happens is that if you are losing very hard bot lane, it is going to get taken very easily, so you have to be careful, right? What you could do is, instead of that, place this ward here like you did, and this ping ward here. This ping ward is going to cover also like the enemy playing around mid lane, going towards the raptors, and you can decide place it here, or you could also place the ping ward here in your own golems. So you are going to play and also rotate. You can use this to rotate, know what if enemy is on golems, and so on. Okay, so now the next step when you're playing bot lane and you don't have a winning lane is that if your top laner is winning, your jungler is playing around top side, your mid lane is doing fine, but you guys are suffering, what you could do is this ward that is very interesting, is this one, the following ward. This ward is super good because you are going to see the enemy mid laner rotating towards bot lane, looking for a dive, and this is going to give information to your mid laner to push the wave and maybe go towards top lane or keep playing for plates, and you know what's happening, right? This is the same if you ward this bush as well, right? You could drop a ward in this bush, which is going to allow you to give vision, like get this type of vision. This could also be a pink. This also could be a control ward, and that's totally fine also, all right? So you need to be smart with the vision when you're on a losing matchup, and avoid like use the wards so you are able to follow and understand what's happening. And again, this one is the best, and then for me the next one. Now I want to talk about something that is very common that you guys do as a support, and I don't like when you drop this type of wards in lane, because they are going to get swept very easily if the enemy team has a sweeper or a pink ward. So you have to tap and see if enemy has a sweeper. If they don't have a sweeper, I'm happy with you placing this one if it's going to help you like engage or neutralize the poke or the aggression from the enemy team. Now, I want to give some extra tips, is that eventually the wave is going to bounce and you are going to push, right? You are going to push and crash the wave. Once the wave crashes, you are going to base, right? You are going to base. Now, this ward is that I'm going to show you now is good for winning and losing matchups when you crash a wave, especially when you, I mean, in both situations it's okay, is you can ward this spot right here, this spot right here, or this bush right here, right? What are these wards going to do is they are going to enable ATP behind them, right? Because now the wave is bouncing, you are coming out of base, and enemy wave is going to do like this. and the enemy is going to be here trying to pressure you again. Now this ward, and this ward are all very good spots for your top laner, for example, to TP bot and make a play and kill them and punish them. That will relieve you pressure and make you probably win the bot lane or recover from your like being behind and give a window for your fed top laner or your strong mid laner to make a play. Because now the TPs is not, you can TP to a ward anytime, so it's a great way to ward. Now, what's the difference between these wards? Is that this ward is pretty good, because maybe the enemy support is going to come here and try to sweep it, like sweep this area, and he's going to miss this ward. Again, we want to drop the vision where we think it's not going to be taken. Let's go for red side. The same thing, the same ward that I explained you before here is going to be in this spot, and the same ward that I explained you before. Now you can use the banana bush to ward the river, and you can also drop one in this situation here. These wards are great, especially this one. This one probably will get swept or taken by a pink ward, but this ward is great to see the enemy rotating towards mid lane. Now for the pink wards defensively, again, you want to place your pink ward defensively here, so it's very difficult for the enemy to take. And if you are in a losing position, you are scared that you are getting dove, pink ward here is also really good. And also like warding this spot here is also fine. And warding this spot right now, like I would say this vision is great. And you can also drop vision on your own blue buff, because then you are going to defend the camp of your jungler as well. If, for example, he's making a play top and his blue buff respawn, so you have information there. Normally, you will not have so many wards. So what I would recommend you to do is that you will drop this pink ward here and a ward, for example, my ward, I would place it here, right? And you have a great already vision control on what's happening, who's rotating towards mid lane, what's going on. And you will see the enemy jungler drag the blue buff. This has saved me so many times and created so many fights where my wave might be like stacking up and my AD carry, my mid laner, collapse on the enemy jungler. We kill him, my jungler gets a good dive on top, and now we are winning in both sides of the map, which is incredible for solo queue. But this is only done if you are able to drop some defensive vision. You could also move this pink ward here, but normally enemy jungle will see it and it will be taken away easier, and you don't see the mid laner if he goes this way and dive you, right? Normally warding tribush is risky because it will be taken away. Again, it depends on the enemy bot lane matchup. You can also hold your pink ward a lot, and then you place your pink ward here when your jungle is nearby, let's say on grub. So when they try to contest it, you can create a fight in this area with your jungler behind. Hey, let's talk about shallow vision against deep vision. What does these two concepts mean, and when is it good to get shallow vision and when is it good to get deep vision? Let's say that we are blue side right now. What I call shallow vision is vision that is right here. This in this area is good shallow vision, and it's perfect to set up objectives. All right, the same goes right here. All of this is shallow vision. When this is great is, as I said, to set up objective, when you want to set up Herald, Voidgrubs, or you want to set up dragons, Nashor as well, because deep vision, that is this right now here, this is deep vision. So if you don't get vision around this area, you don't call it deep vision at all, because that's not deep vision. Deep vision is great to register information as fast as possible. Okay, so that means that if I have a ward right now here in this spot and I see the enemy jungler pass through here, I already know that enemy jungler is topside. I'm most likely looking for a gank on top or doing cracks, right? So me exiting base, I can decide to, oh, I'm going to counter gank the enemy jungler, and I'm going to create a situation where we're going to win on top lane and I'm carrying my top laner. Or now I can connect with my jungler that might be doing raptors and look for a dive in bot lane, because we know that the enemy jungler is on top, right? So because the enemy jungler is on top, we are going to be 3v2 at best, and we can even drag our mid laner as well, and we create a 4v2 situation, and we get this tower, 2 kills, and we are in a good position, and our top laner should respect, because he already saw right here that the jungler is coming. All right, so that's what we call shallow vision and deep vision. Now let's go into the objective setup. Let's talk about the early objectives. How do you ward early objective and how you should approach vision? Let's do it from Blueside and let's start with Voidgrubs. Let's say you open towards Voidgrubs and you want to secure the vision. First of all, you need to make sure that mid wave is secure, so your laner has push. Okay, so your laner has the control. If you need to show, then you show. If you don't need to show because your mid laner wins 1v1, then what you do is you go directly towards the Voidgrubs. All right, so let's see how we do it. Let's say your mid laner has control, then we just go towards Voidgrubs. And where do you place your ping ward? 95% of the times you want to place it here, right? This is going to give you good vision and good control to sit around, and once the enemy team is passing, then you hook them and you can create a fight and your team can turn, right? Where should your ping wards from your team be? One should be here, another should be here, right? Let's say, let's use this dummy as a ping ward, and another one should be here in a perfect world, right? Your top laner plays a ping ward here, your mid laner here, and you place one here. So you have full control of what's happening. Where should you place your normal wards? Your normal wards should always go in this spot, for example, is really good. In this spot right here is good if you have time to place it for the Raptors. Why? Because while you are doing the objective, you have to ask yourself, especially doing Voidgrubs, this is specific to Voidgrubs, is that when do you want to go back bot lane, right? You want to go back bot lane when it's secured, right? You are not going, never ever, as a very rarely, as a support, start hitting the objective for no reason, right? You want to stay in the bush, turn, and then if it's secured, you want to move bot lane and recover. That's what we call recovering, right? So this ward is good information to see if the enemy is contesting or not. You could place a ward here as well, or a ward over the wall as well. That's totally fine. But normally, as a support, you will look to place this type of wards, or maybe one here as well, okay? Maybe one in mid lane, but these are the most normal wards. You don't need to overthink it. Now, there is a very good ward that we didn't speak about it before. To prepare the Voidgrubs is, if you are doing from bot lane to Voidgrubs, let's say you have Prio, then you are coming here and going to drop this ward here right now. This ward here, and then you are going to move to Voidgrubs, you play the mid wave, then you come here, drop a ping ward here if you want, or you wait to drop it here. Both are fine. Normally your mid laner, if he doesn't have a ward, then you can do it for him and drop a ward right here. Okay, so at the end of the day, why is this vision important? Is because if enemy jungler decides to drop and cross map, this is what we call cross map the objective, you will see that the enemy jungler, let's say we see enemy Rengar going for your Raptors. Now what you do is you just press base. You press base and you are going to open towards bot lane to defend your AD carry. Or you can say, okay, enemy jungle is here, my AD carry is a very safe AD carry, let's say Seraphine, right? It's not getting dove, or Ziggs. I'm going to play on top, and on the next wave, we dive the enemy top laner. Now, the same thing, but Redside is going to be a bit faster because the same concept applied to this. Now, you guys remember the ward that defended this Raptors camp is going to be the same, but in Redside is going to be here. You want to drop this ward here when you want to play for Voidgrubs, because now you are going to go for Voidgrubs. If you are able to get this ward right now, this is great because you play mid wave, as we said. It depends on your mid laner, if he's winning, if he needs help, if he doesn't need help. And now we will exit to the Voidgrubs, right, from this side. Here, the same concept applies. You want a ping ward in this bush so your mid laner can transition. If your mid laner doesn't have a ping ward, then you can drop it yourself. If not, you want to have control over this bush, this area, and now this ward is a beautiful ward. This is most likely the best setup that you can have for Voidgrubs, right? What can hurt you is that this is not ping warded and you need to like drop it yourself and maybe spend another ward, just a normal ward here, or spend a sweeper here, or spend the sweeper here, right? But this is an excellent way to start the Voidgrubs. And the same thing, if you see the enemy going towards your jungle, or the enemy not contesting, then you just press base and defend your camps in bot side, or just recover bot lane, or the same concept applies, just dive top. You could also go for a deeper ward that could be like here in this position here, but you could also look for this one. This one is a super strong ward that is not going to be swept if they are going to start the sweeper here, and it gives you the information if the enemy jungler is going this way, enemy support, who's coming. So this ward is very, very like popular in high elo Korea, what I've seen. So you guys should try it out, but I will only use this ward if, for example, I see enemy support, still bot lane, enemy jungler is nowhere to be seen, so I'm safe to ward this area. Normally you will have sweeper and the wards already, or if you have sweeper and a ping ward, that's also fine. Let's talk about that. There's two ways to contest dragon, and it's through bot lane or through mid lane. When would you contest through mid lane? Is when, for example, your bot lane is not that strong and is a good follow-up. For example, Jhin, Kai'Sa can follow up really good with the ultimates, and your mid laner, like for example, you are playing Vi Syndra or like a champion that needs your help to get some vision, right? Let's talk about that first. You want to contest together with your jungler and drop the ping ward here for your mid laner to make sure that he can move, or you want to drop the ping ward here and then drop some normal wards over the wall and drop another normal ward over the wall. Now, if you are doing this setup of vision, is because you are contesting through mid lane. And if you are contesting through mid lane, how you do a dragon, and this nothing to do with warding guide, but how you want to do a dragon is always like this. You want to drag the dragon out like this here, and you want to do it in this spot right now. Your jungler wants to tank it here. Why? Because now you can rely on this zone, and enemy, if they engage here, you can always turn really easily on this choke point, and there's very difficult for them to access you from both sides, right? So they need to go all the way around and contest as 4 people here, because if not, they are not going to be able to contest the objective. Now, if the enemy is contesting 1 player here and the rest are coming from both side, and you even don't have vision about it, now you just have to turn on the player that is coming, create a block of 3-4 players here, kill this target, and then you have the free dragon because you outnumber them. All right, now the second point is, let's do it from both sides. How do you do it through both sides? You need to make sure that you are sweeping this area like this, get rid of the vision, and now you can establish the ping ward here in this bush, or you can still establish the ping ward here. Another good ping ward could be like in this spot right here in the banana bush, but if we are contesting through bot lane, normally we can keep this ward as well, and we can keep a ward here as well. This could be pink, this could be pink, it could be exchanged. Now, it's the same concept than before, is that you start the dragon and you want to drag the dragon out and fight it here, right? You want to tank it here as the jungler, and once the enemy is trying, oh, we are trying to contest this, or we're trying to contest through here, you want to make sure that you engage on them and you turn and punish them. Why? Because the mid laner and jungle might come from here, and the support and AD carry might come from here, so you end the fight far away from the other block. What I see a lot of players, and the big mistake, and that's why vision is so important and understanding what you're doing, is that you are doing the dragon, I mean, you will know this for sure, you are doing the dragon here, and now enemy is collapsing you from this side and from this side. And now you are getting sandwiched and you are dying. This has happened 100% because it happened to me so many times, because my jungler keeps tanking it like that. What you want to do as a support, if your jungler still tanks it in the middle of the pit, is that you want to be in one of these spots. So when the enemies are contesting, you can turn from this pixel to the tribush and just look for an engage, or just be ready to turn really fast and ping like this all the time, like, and you are on your way, and you are on your way, and be ready to fight. Now, again, you can contest through mid and through bot the dragon. Exactly. If your mid laner needs help, then you can contest through here. You can just use sweeper to make sure this is not warded. Drop a ping ward here is nice. Remember, when you're controlling a neutral objective, you want to drop ping wards like in the river. You don't really want to drop the ping ward here or the ping ward in too deep, because at the end of the day, you want to have to make sure that your mid laner can rotate, right? And make sure that the pings are here, so it also spots the wards that enemy will drop right here to see if you are passing, okay? So you want to drop shallow vision again. This ward is okay, this ward is okay, this ward is fine. Like, you can drop the ward here as well, or here as well, right? Remember that most likely this is going to be pinged, so this one has higher value, but also like this one has the value that probably you will be seeing what's happening right there. Now, if you're doing dragon, you love this ward. this ward is your friend while doing dragon. You can see if the enemy jungler is going to try to steal it, the rotations they are going to try to do, and so on. So you always want to have like kind of this ward if you are able to get it. And this is already a really good position for you to be in, because now you drag the dragon out here, and you are able to, if someone is coming from this way, you could trap in this bush. They are coming, they want to contest. And now you can hook them. I mean, Mr. Crab is in the way, so I'm just letting him pass, and then I can show you. And then you can turn here and make sure that you create the fight around this area, okay? You create this fight around this area. And the same goes if you contest through bot lane. So if you contest through bot lane, you want to make sure that these two bushes are completely out of vision. So again, you drop a pink ward here. And now you can drop a ward here and keep this ward, right? You keep the two wards, the pink ward, and the same thing applies right now. You will drag the dragon out, and your jungler will tank it here, and you can sit on this pink ward and wait. If the enemy is going to contest from this side, you can engage already, wait for them to be a bit closer, engage, or you can also play like in this spot. Again, what you don't want to do is be in the middle and just be doubting all the time, right? You have to choose one side to fight and just commit to it, right? Force them to go around, and then you will have a better control, because then if everyone is here, then you can just place yourself and fight here together. But we talked about warding level 1, laning phase, and early objectives. So now let's see, what do we do when we are in mid game and we are in a winning position? How should we play, and what should our objectives be? First of all, you have to see if you want to play for T1 tower top lane, for the T1 tower in mid lane, in bot lane T2, top lane T2, and always try to sync up with your jungler. So now let's say that we want to focus on the tower, T1 tower on top lane. So our vision is going to be very simple. We are going to drop a ward here. We can drop a ward here on the wall, is always pretty nice. A ward right here. And now we can finish up with a ward over the wall if we want to, or a ward just here. Why the vision like this? Because our objective is going to be the T1 tower on top lane, all right? So let's say we got this tower already. This tower is gone, and we want to advance and take this tower. What is going to change from our vision setup? What's going to change that maybe this ward right now is going to change towards this one, or we could just directly ward this bush here, and what's the next ward? Is probably going to be a mid lane ward. We always want a mid lane ward. If this tower has fallen, then we want a ward around here. If this tower has fallen, then we want a ward around here. Okay, and you guys see the difference right now in the minimap is that the vision line is very much like it's just forward. Okay, so changes that we can make for these wards is we could change this ward here toward this one, keep this one here, and now also what we could do, and I've seen Keria do a lot, is that he likes to ward this entrance a lot when he is in a winning position. So at the end of the day, you will have this warded. You could also end up changing this ward for a ward here, and you just change it, but you guys see already that how I'm warding the crossroad, so it's way easier for us to get information. All right, obviously your teammates can also ward, but that will be pretty nice. Now, we want to play for this tower. We already know, we spoke about that when you were on a winning position in bot lane. So let's talk about when we play for this T2 tower in bot lane. Now, this is always pretty nice to get a pink. Why? Because if we get control here, that means that our AD carry is able to rotate from mid lane towards bot lane, stop here and make a decision if he can go back to the mid lane wave or if he can continue the rotation. All right, so where should we place our normal wards? The normal ward here is pretty good because it's going to cover the guy that is going to siege here on T2, and it's also going to help us to see if they contest or they are not contesting. Now, this ward here is beautiful as well. We are in middle of a crossroad to go towards wolves, to go towards mid lane, to see who is going from mid lane. As well, if we are able to get a ward in mid lane, excellent. If the mid lanes tower are up, it's pretty complicated. But every time a mid tower is down, then you want always to drop a ward there. Now, the next wards can be placed here. This spot is really good. Or also here in the corner is a really good ward to place because it's going to make sure that we see who is under tower, who's coming, and that's pretty nice. You guys see how I'm advancing the vision all the time? The same here, the same ward. This I saw Keria do a lot, as I said, and this ward actually makes a lot of sense. So actually this vision setup could be very nice, and you could even change a pink ward, and instead of letting it here, move it a bit forward and drop it here on the blue buff, and we will have a really good vision to siege this T2 tower. Now, on the other hand, let's go for Redside. How do we play for the T1 top in Redside? Where should we place our pink wards, and where should we place our normal wards? Placing a pink ward here on Banana Bush is always pretty safe, but how I love what I like to place when I'm playing for top tower is this one. This one is rarely seen because people don't check the bushes that much, so you can get a lot of good information here, and then drop this ward over the wall for the grump, and even this one here. So you get a really good vision setup already, and the last one you could drop it on the tri-bush, but it's way better that if you can get it over the wall and you get some information. This is a really good warding setup already. You could also change this pink ward to this bush, so any of these three bushes work, especially if you are playing with your jungler here and you want to dive the guy, or you just want to give good vision for like your Fiora, your Jax, or Camille that is split pushing. Now, let's say this tower is gone and you want to play for this tower. How are you going to play for this tower? I don't think these pink wards are that great to keep in these bushes, so I will move my pink ward here, or I will keep it here. The good thing about keeping the pink ward here, let's drop a target ally dummy here, is that if you have a ward on mid, let's say this tower is gone as well, now you can use this pink ward to flank the players that are on mid lane. All right, that's something that you can look for, and it's something that is done a lot. Wards that you will drop if you want to play for this tower, as we said, is the following. This one here is a very nice ward. We spoke about it already on with the Voidgrubs. The crossroad is really important, and also we move them up. And we can drop a ward here. It's already another crossroad, and again, if you want to do like Keria, you can drop another one in the base, and you secure a really good line of vision and understand what's happening. You could change this ward, for example, for a one here, and you can see how at the end of the day the vision, it looks like this, right? It looks very nice for your top laner or mid laner that is splitting, and you know everything that is happening in the game. Now, let's say you want to play for this one. We already covered that in the winning lane. What is the best vision setup? But let's say you are playing for this one here. How do you want to set up the vision? It's pretty simple. You want to have control over this bush with a pink ward, or you want to have control over this bush with a pink ward. You can choose. You can drop the pink ward here, which is fine, and then drop ward here and a ward, for example, here or outside the bush. Let's drop it inside the bush for this time, and you can drop another ward in mid lane. So this vision is excellent to play for this tower. It can be a bit better. How can it be a bit better? We can change one of these two wards for another ward here if we have time to drop it. We will get a lot of information. We can also drop it in the corner to see a bit more towards this side. But if we use it together with this one, it's going to be insane vision setup to play for this tower, right? It always depends on how is the situation of the game and what you can do. If you, for example, smart things to do is just drop vision with a split pusher. Let's say you are playing again with a strong side laner. You can drop vision like this and just go away, play the mid lane, and play together with your AD carry or with your jungler. Try to do something different. And with this vision, you will see the enemy jungler or enemy support trying to make sure that he doesn't keep split pushing, and maybe you have a free Nashor or a free Atakhan on top side. Right? Finally, the question is going to be answered. How do we ward as a support when we are losing the game? Okay, everyone is it's so easy to ward when you are winning, but what do you do when you are losing? How do you play when you are losing? That question, I got it so many times, and finally we are going to answer it right now today in this video, in this long video. It's been a long recording day for sure. So really good wards that you want to place when you are losing is, for example, in the topside river, this one here. This one here I've seen so much, and if you are not using it, I recommend you to use it from today. This ward is very good because what together with this ping ward, you can look for a trap with your jungle together here, or just concede the bush, but you are still registering the information. And if they ping ward this bush and ping ward this bush, you still have vision here. So this ward is very strong to drop it when you are on a losing position or even in a winning position, but you don't have fully control over enemy topside jungle. But this ward is super good. Now, when you're losing, enemies are going to normally control this area right here, like we explained. So you want to make sure that you have like ping wards in this bush, in this bush, in this bush, and in this bush. You want to control this area. Why? Because you want to rotate in a safe way through your jungle, right? You want to make sure that you are able to create some fights in these spots because you are closer to your base, and it's choke points that are really, really good for your team to access. So for example, let's say my mid laner is able to move towards here, my top laner towards here, faster than maybe enemy rotating all the way, right? So you always want to create this type of lines of defensive vision. The same goes for here in bot lane. Like, let me show you. You will ward this with a pink ward and also this with a pink ward. Now you will say, all right, coach, but you see the line, this should be pinged. Now you can make sure that you rotate towards side lane, which is really nice, or you can look to engage mid lane with these ping wards as well, and here the same, right? You can look for flanks. Now this is for control wards, but what do we do with our normal wards? So there is a lot of things you can do. The first one, this one here, as I said, and then you want to drop wards like around this area, or around, if you are able to get a ward here, that's also fine. And if not, you can drop a ward here. What are these wards going to do is that when enemy team is going to siege here, they are going to decide, oh, we are going to siege you mid lane, and this happens a lot. Now you have wards behind where you can TP. So if you have a good flank champion that can TP, then these wards are going to be extremely good. The same happens when you are going to defend this type of positions. So what you want to do is, let's say you have a ping ward here or a ping ward here, you try to attack the side lane, nothing happens, all right, the play finishes, then you can drop maybe a ward here, or maybe you can drop a ward here, right? You need to be creative with your vision so your team can drop some TPs behind when enemy team is going to siege. That's the way that you can come back into the game, right? This is also like a good way for enchanters to safely ward, like use your control wards to get access to this type of wards and just be creative, okay? And I will do it in the same sequence as well. When you are playing Redside, you want a pink ward here, you want a pink ward here, and you also want a pink ward here and a pink ward here, right? And the same concept, you want to make sure that you get some vision, defensive vision for you, and it's the same spot than before. This ward is great, and if we move around the map, this ward is also great defensive ward, right? And you want to drop some vision like the same wards behind the enemy to make sure that you can TP and come back into the game. It's not an easy task, but also, for example, before an objective, well, we're going to talk about objectives right now, how to do them in mid game. Let's talk about how to set up objectives in mid to late game and what changes. So normally it's the same concept as when we were speaking or talking about early objectives. Let's say we are setting up for a dragon right here. We still want to get the vision, shallow vision, right? We want to get vision around here, and we want to get our pink wards, where is it? Like here, in this area, or in this area here, depending where we are contesting. Normally, mid game and late game, everyone defaults by contesting through mid lane, but you can always contest through bot lane and leave someone mid lane. That's also done, but normally that's pretty rare to see. It's more seen in higher elo or in competitive, but it might be the case that you contest through side lane, all right? But what I want to talk about right now is two concepts while setting up control on the river, is that you want to create what we call safe zones for your carries, right? So let's see, this is a ping setup that you get because one of your teammates got a ping ward as well. So these are the wards that we talked about that are really good. And then we can get the last one on enemy tribus, right? We have the 3 wards and 2 ping ward controls. What we call a safe zone is where my carries can go back to while we are fighting and they know they have vision and enemy team has no vision, right? So we can create a triangle. If someone from my team pings this, then you will see a lot in competitive, a lot of triangles with ping words. So you know that you can always guide back towards these situations, and you have this for control and this for safety, right? Especially when you are playing compositions that are front to back, so first target as well. So what changes here? Now, if enemy team has one flanking champion, let's say enemy team is playing Camille, LeBlanc, Ari, Jax, right? Akali, champions that are going to flank, you always want to have a ward here. It can be a normal ward, it can be a control ward, it can be any ward that you want. You can also play the ward here. Why? You will see this normally in competitive a lot. Let's say we have this vision setup. Now you can drop the ward here as you usually do, and drop the last one that you have right here, right? Now you see, I mean, I have 4 wards because I have the Wardstone, Vision and Wardstone. So let's drop one here. So you guys see that I have my shallow vision, but I have 1 ward behind. And this you want to do it all the time, because maybe the enemy Akali is going to try to go towards your backline and flank, look for a flank position. And this is something that I've not seen a lot of people do and not a lot of people know. So you are spotting the enemy flanker and you can already match them or mark them so they are not able to flank your Orianna or your Jinx that is playing, and instead you are not blind. Because if you don't have this ward, let's say you drop a ward here, it's all dark and you don't see anything, right? And your carries might get exposed. So it's the same concept. If you are playing from Redside, you want to drop some wards over the wall as well. Like if you can get some wards over the wall, then that's super nice. And how would you defend your backline is the same concept here. You will just drop a ward behind you and you are fine in the game, right? You can play the fight. You can even ward here if you want. And you always have, like, you know what's happening behind. The same thing goes when you are setting up a Nashor or Herald. You want to get a ward behind you here, or you want to get yourself a ward behind you here when you are setting up Nashor and you think, like, for example, you are going to get flanked, or you can drop the ward in this area as well. It's super important, guys, because it makes a huge difference. Let's talk about how to set up Atakhan in this new season. It's a new objective that spawns at minute 20, and it's not that easy because you need a lot of help for your teammates, because you need to cover a lot of ground, because it's in one side lane on bot lane or in top lane, so you just can mirror it. And mid lane control is super important as well, so we are going to talk about how would you set up Atakhan when you are playing Blueside. So you always want to make sure that you deny the vision that their enemy is going to drop over the wall. So a ping ward around here is always nice. You can drop the ping ward also like in this position, but you guys see already that it doesn't cover everything, and you want to drop or maybe the ping ward in here. When would you drop the ping ward in here? Is when you are in a very hard winning position and you know that enemy team has to face check, and you can stay here while the enemy team is coming and turn on this choke point, right? But if this is not the case, then having wards, like for example further away, like here or even here, is really good. And also you can get another one in the lane if the tower is gone. If the tower is still up, which has happened sometimes, you can always ward like in this spot, right? You always, like, you have a good triangle of vision around the objective where you have a ping ward, and you can always use the sweeper to clear vision that is going to appear. All right, this depends if you're on a winning position or on a losing position, right? The same goes from if you are red side, then you want to do the same. You want to drop your ping ward around here, and now you want to make sure that you ward here and this spot as well, like a bit the same as when we are on a winning position in bot lane, and you can ward this corner right here, and you can sit on the tribush. Why warding the tribush is not that important? You can ward the tribush, it's okay, but having these spots warded will help you tremendously. And normally here they will just drop a ping ward, right? And it's going to be very hard to contest, so you will end up fighting anyways. Here you can always drop the ward while fighting, that's totally fine. But this is just a standard setup of how to set up Atakhan in these moments. The same concept here on top. You want to make sure that you ping here. And now the wards that I would like to use is this one here. You can drop one here, and the other one you can drop it here in the corner. What's happening is that this river and this river control is like you're dropping it a lot. So you can also look to drop some wards here, and if your teammates can drop another ping ward, like this setup would be pretty nice. You guys see already that it's very exhausting, or like you need to drop a lot of vision resources to have a good setup. But you guys see I don't give too much importance to this bush. What I would like to do is also ping ward this bush if it's possible. Then it will be perfect. Knowing this is not warded, maybe sweep around the area and make sure that nothing is there's no wards nearby my objective. Now if you are playing from red side, you want to do the same than in the other side. Maybe this is not pinged, maybe you want to drop a normal ward and you want to just ping ward the objective, like just here where I am standing right now. Alright, this is a new feature or a bug in season 15 with the new rune deep ward, and I wanted to mention it in this guide because it's pretty strong and it's pretty important, and I want to mention it. I don't know if it's going to be fixed, so maybe I delete this part at the end, so we will see. But for now, it works. So how deep ward works is that when you place a ward on enemy jungle or in enemy jungle, it's going to have increased duration and increased health. That we all know because we are already very familiar with the rune, right? And at level 9, when you place a ward in the river, so here, it will also become a deep ward. But if you place a ward next to the wall of the enemy jungle, is going to become a deep ward. You guys see, this is a deep ward, this is a deep ward, but if I place the ward here, it's not a deep ward. And it's the same thing here. When I place a ward over the wall, it's going to become a deep ward instead of a normal ward. But if I place the ward a bit further up, it's going to be a normal ward. So every ward that is touching the enemy jungle is going to become a deep ward. The same goes here. If I want to ward the lane, this ward is going to stay 1 minute and 30 seconds, but if I place it next to the wall, it becomes a deep ward. So you guys get the point, no? So if you want to ward, for example, the river, instead of warding here, and if you have deep ward and is before level 9, you can get a deep ward just dropping the ward next to the jungle, enemy jungle walls. So it doesn't work, for example, here, of course. So it will not work in your own jungle walls. You need to drop it enemy jungle walls, and it's a quite amazing. Like I discovered this, like here the same, but for some reason I think at this wall doesn't work. So if you place it in this wall, it will not work, but it will work. For example, here it will work, like if you drop it here. So here it works properly, maybe. I don't know. You guys let me know in the comments. I hope you enjoyed this video. It was a very long video. If you made it till here, then you're a true warrior and you will know a lot about warding. If you skipped and you are still here and check this out, well, let me know if you think it's a bug or it's a feature. And guys, till next time, bye bye.